Namo Buddhaya. Good morning. Welcome to the Buddha Dhamma TV. I'm Lisa Chu. Before we begin our program, let us join a group of venerable monks in paying homage to the Supreme Buddha.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato
Well, now we are presenting another sermon by the late Most Venerable Dr. K. Sri Dhammananda Nayaka Mahathero. Buddha Dhamma TV is thrilled to retelecast some of his popular talks. Here is Venerable's fascinating talk entitled 3 Basic Principles of Life. This is the second part of his sermon.
Then, there are 3 basic principles called Sila, Samadhi, Panya. These are the 3 basic principles. Only human beings can cultivate. Others cannot. Devas also cannot. Who are those devas who enjoy their life? During their previous birth, they have done a lot of meritorious deeds as human beings. And they had the opportunity to be born in Devaloka to experience more worldly sensual pleasure. But they do not know what will happen to them in the end. And there they do not perform meritorious deeds. They have no particular religions to consider. When you go to Brahma world, they lead very peaceful, very contented, very happy life, tranquility, calmness. In fact, they use only 2 senses, eyes and ear. Other 3 are not active. Control. Especially when this one is controlled, we can live peacefully, you know. All our problems come from here, you know. Beautiful sayings in Christianity and Buddhism, both. People always talk about, we cannot eat this, we cannot eat this, if you eat this, we pollute this, we spoil this. But the Buddha and Jesus both have said, it is not the thing that go to the stomach through the mouth that pollute everything. The thing that come out from the mouth pollute everything. So these are very meaningful sayings. In every religion you can find such wonderful teachings. So, they use only eyes and ear for their survival. Who are these people? During their previous birth, they have cultivated, developed, disciplined their senses through meditation. And they are not crazy for sensual pleasure. Rebirth has taken place in Brahma world to spend such a long period, very peaceful life. But the thing is this, they also do not know what will happen to them after their death. They have no idea. The advantage of becoming human being is this. Animals, a spirit, ghost, devils, devas, brahmas never prepare for their next life because they have no such idea. As human beings, we know this is not the first and the last. Of course, according to certain religion, as human being, this is the first and the last. But after death, either heaven or hell. But according to certain other religion, not only heaven and hell, there are 31 planes categorized into 31 planes. People are crazy to go to heaven, not knowing actually what it is, where it is. There was a well-known writer in America. His name was Ingersoll. He said, instead of going to heaven, I prefer to go to hell. Because according to certain religions, those who do not believe in God will go to hell. Scientists, psychologists, rationalists, free thinkers, including the Buddha, all are in hell. If I go to hell, I meet all those intellectuals. I can have a nice time with them. I think heaven is good for playboys, not for me. This is the way, actually, how they ridicule this kind of belief. Those who do not use their common sense. According to the Buddha, heaven and hell, only Buddhism preaches like this. Very clearly he mentioned, hell is not located under this earth or under the great ocean or under great Mahameru. Heaven is not a particular area created by anybody. He used this word. Only foolish people believe that hell is under this. You can examine today. Modern equipments are so advanced, you can drill from here to the bottom to see whether there is hell. Instead of hell, you will be landed in America. You try and see. That is what the Buddha says. Hell is not located anywhere under this. Hell exists everywhere. What is the definitions of hell? Now we are not in hell. From our birth up the last breath, without any interval, life is nothing but suffering and suffering and suffering up to the end. That is hell. Here we too have sufferings, but occasionally we laugh, we joke, we enjoy, again we cry, we fight, we quarrel, and we worry, we suffer, again we laugh. Therefore we are not in hell. But there are millions from their birth up to the end, nothing but suffering, 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 suffering. The Buddha said that is hell. Another man, very rich man, approached the Buddha. His name was Kutadanta. He said, we have no time to meditate, to observe 8 precepts. we are rich people. Even then, after our death, we like to go to heaven and enjoy our life. Ask the Buddha whether there is any shortcut. Then the Buddha said, why do you want to wait until you die to experience heavenly bliss? While you are living here in this world, you can experience heavenly bliss if you know how to handle this life properly. Can understand, Buddha is a practical religious teacher who never create mythology, belief, imaginations in our mind. Practical way. You can create your heaven if you know how to handle your life. That is what you are here, to know something, how to make use of this life, how to avoid problems and troubles and worries and disturbances, how to gain more knowledge and understanding and wisdom. You are here for this purpose. So, after learning, through your understanding, you can adjust. But other living beings have no that chance. That's why I told you, we are fortunate. Assume we are suffering. While sufferings, we think we are suffering while others are enjoying because we have not done enough good karma during our previous birth to maintain our human life. Therefore, we must be wise. Therefore, we must prepare not to suffer again. Then do more and more meritorious deeds. What is the meaning of meritorious deeds? Do some service to others to release their suffering, their worries, their fear and their poverty, their problems. This is called meritorious deeds. Do some service to others. The more you gain happiness, the merit means happiness. By doing some good deed, the happiness that you gain is called merit. It is not the material gain, the happiness. That happiness, punyani paralokasming patitta honti paninam, the sayings of the Buddha. Punya, chittang punati ti punyang. English word merit doesn't give the real meaning. Whenever we do some good deeds with confidence, with happiness, with understanding, that is called punya, merit. English word merit doesn't give that meaning. The Buddha used the word merit as punya. Punyani paralokasming. After our death, there is nobody else to help us. Only our own karma. But some people still believe that after their death, when people put something into their coffin, they get in the next life. Do you know, according to my observation, I noticed Chinese are the most cleverest people in this world. Do you know why? They are the only people who open a bank in hell. Americans also could not do that. Not only that, they produce currency note, valid in hell. What happened? When they burn this currency note, one who is in hell receives just like a fax message. See how clever they are? I understand in Taiwan there is a modern method. Because every day they are burning, especially this period. Your good friends coming. This period, they burn and burn and burn, and the whole country, the smoke. So now they have introduced credit card system. Put the credit card into the coffin, finish, nothing to burn. I think better to introduce in Singapore also. Another thing that I noticed, Chinese ghosts are very obedient ghosts. Because there is a proper time for them to come out, there is a proper period for them to stay, proper time for them to go back. But all the other devils come and disturb us every day. See how good they are. You give only one chicken leg, they satisfy, go back and sleep for 1 year. Very good. So, my dear friend, we have to use our common sense, intelligence, without following traditional method, practices introduced by our forefathers when science and various other modern educations were not advanced for us to understand the nature of life, nature of death, nature of birth, nature of the world. They were in the dark. The method they started to avoid certain fear and worries and disturbances, still we follow. Time has come for us to minimize as much as possible. Because we notice the other religionists take the advantage to condemn, to ridicule what Buddhists are doing. They say Buddhist. Whatever Chinese do, poor Buddhism get the blame. Because all these things they burn and burn and burn, where did the Buddha ask you to burn all these things? He asked you to burn only one thing, jhana. Attainment of jhana means burning. Burn your defilement, burn your anger, burn your jealousy, burn your greedy, burn your selfishness. Jhana. Burn only these things. Not the papers and joysticks and everything. So, they asked me to stop by 9 o'clock. Still I could not complete one first principle. Anyway, let us come to the second one. Sila we have completed, I explained. We do not observe Sila only by abstaining or keeping away. If you say, I take the precept not to kill, not to steal, not to do this, that is only one aspect. Charitra Sila, Varitra Sila. Two aspects, negative and positive. When you decide not to kill, varitra, keep away from killing by knowing that it is bad. Then the Buddha said like this, if you cannot understand why killing is bad, attanang upamang kattva nahaneyena ghate. When another person come and try to kill you, how do you feel? Very nice. Try to cut or try to shoot or try to stab, how do you feel? Attanang upamang kattva. So when you try to kill another living being, that living beings also experience the same thing what you experience. See the practical way how the Buddha preached. Another very nice parable to understand Buddha's way of teaching. One day when he was sitting on the bank of a river with a group of disciples, he saw a piece of wood, a log, floating in the river. Then the Buddha says, "Can you see that piece of wood floating there?" "Yes." "What do you think about, what is the fate of this log?" Because his way of teaching is not by giving talk or lecture. Allow others to think. Then open the mind, give the chance for them to open the mind to understand. But others give commandment, religious laws by creating fear and threatening, frightening. But the Buddha never adopted that method. Only opening the mind. Some disciples said, "I think the more and more water goes inside his wood, it may sink." The Buddha said, "Yes, you are right." Then another group said, "When it was floating like this, some people may come and take it home and cut into pieces and use as firewood." Then the Buddha said, "Yes, you are right." Then another group said, "This one, if there is any island, this people landed somewhere on the way." Then the Buddha said, "Yes, you are right." Another group said, "Oh, this may reach the sea." Then the Buddha said, "Yes, you are right." Then he said, "Our life is exactly like that piece of wood. Uncertainty. No one can say earlier what really happened later. We can create our own imagination, but impermanency, changes can take place according to circumstances." These are beautiful parables, advices given by the Buddha for us to understand. He never prepared his talk and distribute the papers and ask people to read. He watched their mind first, whether people can understand what he is going to preach, because he get that psychic power, enlightenment. We haven't got that. Then he preached according to their mind. Then very easily they can grasp. That is why some people cannot understand. After listening to one or two words from the Buddha, some of them attain Arahant. We have been learning Buddhism from my childhood, still we could not attain anything. Those people, after listening one or two words, attain Arahanthood, basically. The reason is, the Buddha studied the mind first, then find out whether he can understand this. What are the obstructions, hindrances? How far he has developed his mind earlier to understand this. He got special characteristic, 6 kind of characteristic. This is one of them. So, attainment of sainthood instantly. Then the second one is samadhi. Samadhi means the mind that we cultivated by observing precept, abstaining and developing. We keep away from killing, that is abstaining. We develop kindness, compassion towards others, positive side. And we abstain from stealing, bluffing, swindling, cheating. On the other side, we develop honesty, sincerity. So the precept divided into 2. Negative, positive. Not only abstaining, not only keeping away from bad things, we have to cultivate good things also. Then there is no fear of God, fear of hell, fear of punishment, but through understanding. When you observe the precept, you protect others, not only you. If you like to have good neighbors, you must have a nice fence or wall. Otherwise, always there will be argument, disturbances. But when you put up nice fence or wall, you protect your house and your family, you protect their house and their family also. So observing precept is exactly like this. Now you decide not to kill. Then you allow others to live peacefully without fear. That is the highest contribution that you can perform for them. You stop stealing, swindling, cheating, bluffing others. Then they can live peacefully. No need to lock the door also at night time. Those who believe in God for their protections and blessings is very good. No one can say it is wrong. But don't forget to lock the door at night time when you go out. There is no guarantee that God will protect your house until you come back. That is Buddhism. When I went to Australia, after my talk, one Australian lady asked this question: what is the Buddhist concept toward God? I told her, the Buddha never said that there is no God. You cannot find this word in the Buddha's teaching. There is no God. In fact, one of the disciples asked this question: have you got evidence to prove the existence of Devas or God? The Buddha gave a very interesting answer. He said, what have you got to prove that Devas or God do not exist? And we can understand the Buddha's attitude. That means he doesn't want to highlight and he doesn't want to deny. To him it is not very important. If you know how to fulfill your duties, responsibilities, by maintaining your human dignity, give respect to your human intelligence, God is not important. So I gave this parable to that lady. So if you believe in God, if you pray to God, if you worship, very good. But don't forget to lock your door when you go out. You must know how to do your duty. That is Buddhism. If God exists, so much the better. If God does not exist, you never lose anything. That is Buddhism. So, when we develop this mind, we maintain some sort of peace, calmness, tranquility, satisfaction in our life. Now we haven't got any of them. Because our minds are very weak. Do you know the reason why our minds are very weak? We have fear because of that weakness. We have insecurity feeling because of that fear. We have suspicion because of that fear. Small children scared of so many things because their minds are very weak. And we also maintain this fear. Reason is, every minute we are wasting our mental energy for nothing through our five senses. How you use your senses? Your eyes, your ear, your nose, your mouth and your body, these five channels, you extract the mental energy and fix that energy to the external object and create your imagination, suspicion, fear, worry and admiring and enjoying emotional satisfaction. Use your mental energy. In the end you won't gain anything. Disturb the mind, that's all. You collect so many rubbish from outside through the five senses and disturb the poor mind. Mind has no time to relax. Every second, either through the senses, if not the mind itself, create imagination, also mental energy. So, minds are weak because we are wasting energy. Example, a huge waterfall, the water pouring, spread everywhere. There's nobody to through proper channels. An engineer, having seen this, he decided to make a dam to collect the water. After that, produce hydroelectricity to illuminate the whole country. Formerly, they wasted that water. Exactly in the same manner, we are wasting our mental energy for nothing. Here the Buddha introduced, don't waste your mental energy through these five senses. Close these five. Then the mind gets the chance to relax. Because mind has to reject, mind has to accept, and to consider whether to accept or to reject. Real torture to the mind. Keep away from all those things. Allow that poor mind to relax. At that time, you rejuvenate, you recharge the battery in your mind that you have wasted. When you concentrate on one particular object, neutral object, without allowing the mind to run here and there, then you develop. Bhavana means development, not meditation. Meditation means deep thinking. There's no religious value. The Buddha used the word bhavana, development. Development of the mind, that means we harness, accumulate the lost energy and develop. When it is developed, the mind becomes very dynamic force. The fear we had earlier disappear. Suspicion, insecurity, all those things disappear. Then we get courage, knowledge, understanding, wisdom through this cultivation. This method has no religion, not belong to any particular religion. Any human being who has a mind can practice this method. Then, when these disturbances are no more there, we have certain evil root deeply rooted into the mind, difficult to uproot. Now we keep quiet, look nice, look very cultured or religious when there are no disturbances. Now you have very serene looking faces, very happy, very calm, very nice, look very good people. But one or two words are more than enough to irritate and provoke and disturb you, you can behave like devils. Because those devils were sleeping, hiding. Now we are not, you don't allow them to come up. By considering the nature of our mind, we are keeping them always at the bottom as sediment. When circumstances come, irritation, temptation, then arouse. Entirely change our attitude, our way of life, our face, our mind, through the influence of internal evil forces. As long as these evil forces remain, we never experience happiness. Happiness is one thing, pleasure is another thing. We take pleasure as happiness. It is not happiness. Pleasure we gain, what is pleasure? Emotional satisfaction. Fleeting nature. Next moment disappear. The pleasure you had at this moment become the biggest headache and problem next moment. Now you can understand the difference between pleasure and happiness. Happiness we cannot gain by keeping those evil forces in the mind. When those evil forces, anger, jealousy, grudge and ill will, selfish ideas are no more in the mind, then the brightness that appear in the mind is the happiness. So now you are not experiencing happiness. You use the wrong word, it is not happiness. It is emotional satisfaction or pleasure. Pleasures are changeable, moment to moment. So if you want to maintain happiness, give this chance to your mind to relax, to develop and to suppress and reduce and uproot later all the evil forces which are hiding in our mind. So when we meditate, use the word meditation, at that time we experience some sort of peace. As soon as we stop our meditation, again go back to the normal way of life. No peace, no happiness, all disturbances again. Like this. When you take a bucket of water from a pond, the water is covered with dried leaves and dust. But the water is very clear. So you can shake all the dirt, you can see clear water. Then you take one bucket of water. Very nice. But after that, the dirt all slowly come and cover. So when you meditate, your mind is pure. You don't allow anger, jealousy, grudge and ill will, all the dirty things, wicked things to appear, disturb the mind. But when you stop your meditation, all these things come and again. When you covered green grass from a bucket or basin. Keep for 2 weeks, open. You can see green leaves turn into white. So when you meditate, a lot of changes take place in your mind. It's very calm, very serene, and no anger, no jealousy, no grudge. Because your mind is under the influence of this concentration. But when you go back to your normal way of life, again those things come back. And the grass that you covered for 2 weeks change the color because you stopped the sunlight. After that, next week when you come back, you can see again turned into green color. So our minds are also exactly like this when you come back to the normal worldly life. Worldly life is very troublesome. It is true. You cannot become very religious people. If you try to be very religious, your life becomes nuisance to others. Yes, your family people, your members, your friends cannot appreciate because you are too religious. Therefore, I don't advise anybody to be too religious. Become nuisance to others. Go step by step, developing without allowing others to create misunderstanding or become nuisance. Don't allow your way of life to become nuisance to others. You want to show you are too religious. The example, in your family, you eat anything, whatever you like. Suddenly you change your mind, you say, I'm vegetarian. Don't cook anything here, no fish, no meat, no egg, nothing. You become nuisance to all the others in your family. That is why I say, if you want to go to that extreme, then renounce. After that, no problem. Without creating disturbance to others. Lead a normal way of life. Again, the Buddha introduced this way of life, practical way. For lay people, householders, worldly people, one method. For the monks and nuns, another method. So you should not try to follow the monk's way of life. I advise monks also not to follow your way of life. Wrong method. Today they have mixed up all these things. By knowing the difficulties that you had to face, your duties, your commitments, your responsibilities, your obligations, so many things. You had to concentrate, you had to work, you had to earn, you had to accumulate, you had to support, how many things. And we have got time for you to meditate. You had to think about your children, your wife, your husband, your property, your business. But there are certain things that you can do as worldly people. Here the Buddha says, you can maintain 4 kinds of happiness. Atti sukha, bhoga sukha, anana sukha, anavajya sukha. 4 kinds of happiness. If you come to know that you have something, either bank account, or a house, or a piece of land, or a business, or some jewelries, you gain some sort of happiness. The Buddha said that is important for you. He never said you must throw away all those things and go back to jungle. Because it is not practical. Atti sukha, bhoga sukha. By spending what you have earned, don't be stingy. Some people work and earn, never eat even good food. And never buy good clothing also. Buddha says, enjoy your life. You can have nice food, good dress, nice house and television, and no harm at all. But you must enjoy respectable way, without harming, bluffing, swindling, cheating others. You can enjoy your life. Buddhism never say, you should not laugh, you should not joke, you should not enjoy your life. No. You can have a nice life, peaceful life, enjoyable life, but respectable way. Bhoga sukha. Anana sukha. By knowing your income, you have to adjust your budget, not to borrow from others. You had to surrender your dignity and under obligation. Sometimes you go and hide or run away from the country after borrowing from others. Don't make the habit to borrow from others. Maintain that happiness to think, I am not indebted to anybody. Independent. That happiness is very important for human dignity. The Buddha said this. Last one is more important. Anavajya sukha. When you think that you have not done any harm to anybody, that you have no guilty feeling in your mind, I have done this and this and this and that, all the dirty things. That happiness is the most important, remarkable happiness in our life. Why? All the other three happiness disappear before our death, cannot carry. But the last happiness that we maintain in our mind, free mind, that happiness support us to have better rebirth. Because we die, we depart from this world without having any guilty concern, guilty feeling in our mind. This is the way how we had to adjust our way of life if you want to lead the worldly life. But by realizing the difficulties, problems and commitment, some people renounce. It is up to them. Then they can have a very peaceful life and no jealousy, no anger, no grudge, and very peaceful life they can lead after that renunciation. Renunciation does not mean simply by shaving it and using the clothing into this. That is not the renunciation. This is external. External object, manifestation. Renunciation takes place in the mind. That means reduce attachment, reduce craving, reduce crazy attitude towards so many things. That is called renunciation. When you reduce all those things, naturally your way of life also going on changing without your knowledge. That is the real. As householders, you can practice this renunciation according to your age, your maturity, your understanding. You can practice by reducing and reducing. In the end, have free mind. Depart from this world with free mind, with hopes and confidence. Many people die with confusion, with worry, with fear, with uncertainty, because they do not know how to adjust. Here the Buddha has shown the path for worldly people to adjust their life. In the end, one day they can depart from this world without fear and worry and disturbances. So when we train that mind, we experience all these good results. Then the last item is panya. wisdom. Wisdom is not knowledge. Knowledge means that we gathered after listening and reading and observing all the worldly thing. But there is no wisdom. Wisdom appears in the mind when mental hindrances, obstructions, mental pollution, mental impurities are not active in the mind. Otherwise, it remains as knowledge. There are many learned people all over the world, wonderful knowledge. They know everything under the sun and the moon. They are learned people. They have wonderful knowledge, but they haven't got wisdom. Wisdom never appears. There is one particular characteristic of the Buddha amongst 9 virtues. Vijja Charana Sampanno. Vijja and Charana. These both we can find in the Buddha, but not in many others. Knowledge or wisdom and character. Many people are very intelligent, but their character is horrible. Either hot-tempered, egoistic, emotional, jealous, greedy, temperamental, wonderful knowledge. Some others are very kind, very peaceful, patience, tolerance, all the good qualities are there. But their wisdom is very poor. They are called kind-hearted fools. Remember this. If you develop your kind heart without knowledge and without understanding, you get into trouble. People take the advantage. If you develop your generosity without your knowledge and wisdom and understanding, you get into trouble. People take the advantage. These two must go together. So in the Buddha, we can find the wisdom and the conduct, both. When the Buddha's dead body was carrying away for the cremation, people assembled, although not Buddhists, at that time there were very few Buddhists, but with one voice, all of them said, "This is the body of a man who never uttered a lie." That reputation was there even among the non-Buddhists. So, wisdom means that knowledge we use by cultivating, developing, purifying our mind. Then we gain wisdom. So this knowledge, there are 3 methods. Suttamaya, Chintamaya, Bhavanamaya. 3 methods to gain this. Suttamaya means listening. Those days, they never used reading because no books to read. They learn everything by listening. Therefore they say Suttamaya. Bahusruta. Very learned person is called Bahusruta. One who heard more. Bahusruta. That means learned. But never say, today say well-read man. Same meaning, because we have books today. By listening, we gain knowledge. That knowledge is not very clear, because you mix up with your understanding capacity. Even then you get some sort of knowledge and wisdom. Next one is Chintamaya. Chinta means thinking. You think unbiasedly, investigate, think deeply, try to find the answer, investigate, then you get knowledge or the answer. That is also not 100% correct. Then the last method is bhavana me panya. To this bhavana, meditation, by reducing evil forces from the mind, by cultivating our mind, by purifying our mind, we gain wisdom, turn into enlightenment. Why it is called enlightenment? When this hall is dark, if you enter into this, there are so many things, but you cannot understand what they are. Just touch and create your own imagination. Our mind at this moment exactly like that, because we have no enlightenment. But when you enter into this building, when the whole building is lighted, illuminated, then we can see what are the things and who are the people. Brightness is there. So when the dark cloud removed from the mind, brightness appears. That brightness is enlightenment. Real wisdom is there. A man has written a book, Learned Ignorance, the title of the book. Learned Ignorance. He says, the more we learn, the more we enlarge our ignorance. He is right. Because to learn anything, we cannot get anything from outside. Not necessarily. We bring rubbish from outside to disturb the mind. We had to learn how to open the mind. When we open the mind, the development of this mind create knowledge, wisdom, understanding, purity, not from outside. Insight. The mind itself. So when we try to meditate or do bhavana, we learn that closed mind, slowly we open that mind. Then the brightness appears, understanding appears, knowledge appears, then the willpower, courage, all the good qualities appear. We cannot bring them from outside. We cannot bring them from heaven nor from any other part of the world. All we have to develop in our mind. These are the three human principles, my dear friends. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. I explain these things without using many textual or explanations or book knowledge, by using some simple example and certain words that you can understand things. But further details, textually we can give. For hours we can talk according to the books. So I hope 1.5 hours, 2 hours, We start at 7:30, exactly 9:30. I think organizers, I don't know whether they blame me, they asked me to stop at 9. Never mind, we have not wasted our time. I believe that you gain, you are benefited. You can continue, you can discuss with others, you can clarify. Then you can extend, expand, get further clarification. So, thank you for your indulgence. May the blessings of the Buddha and the Dhamma and the Sangha be upon you for your good health, long life, peace and happiness. Thank you very much.
In the Master's Steps is another spiritually inspiring song by O Tek Bin. It gives peace when you listen to it. Let's enjoy it together. In the Master's Steps.
It was the year 623 BC. Siddhartha was born in Lumbini. He lived a life of great luxury, but he pondered on life's misery.
At 29 he sought for the truth, for what is perfectly wise and good. At 35 he found perfect peace through the middle way, the way to bliss. Let's walk in the Master's steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. Conquer all delusion, greed and hate. Let's walk in the Master's steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. We all to one day will be awake.
The Master passed away at 80. Let us follow his words faithfully. All compounded things have transcended. Diligence strive on mindfully.
We all seek real peace and happiness. The Master's message remains timeless. May our practice be strong and earnest. Let our guide be love and mindfulness. Let's walk the Master's steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. Conquer all delusion, greed and hate. Let's walk in the Master's steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. We all to one day will be awake. Let's walk in the Master's steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. Conquer all delusion, greed and hate. Let's walk in the Master's steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. We all to one day will be awake.
The Dhammapada is celebrated as one of the most sacred texts in Buddhism. Its deep insight into the true nature of life, the journey towards enlightenment, wisdom and compassion have become a beacon for countless practitioners worldwide. Venerable Bhante Sivali has already delivered 61 insightful sermons. He will continue to share his wisdom every week on Buddha Dharma TV. Each sermon will offer a focused exploration of a single Dhammapada verse. Please join us in welcoming Bhante Sivali to deliver a brief sermon on the 62nd verse of the Dhammapada.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Welcome to the Dhammapada program. Today we are going to discuss the verse number 62 at the chapter 5 entitled the Bala Vagga, or the fools. It begins with Putta Matti Dhanam Matti Iti Balu Vihanyati Attahi Attanu Natti Kuto Putta Kuto Dhanam. This is very philosophical meaning. These sons, the children, are mine. This wealth is mine. They cannot even call themselves their own. How can there be son, or how come there will be wealth? Puttamatti dhanamatti. I have wealth, I have children. The fool fatigue himself. Fool fatigues himself, thinking that I have children, I have wealth. They cannot even call themselves their own. How can then we call that I have children, I have wealth? People fatigue themselves very much because of their attachment to the family. How hard they need to work to make ends meet. They are finding it hard to make ends meet. The activities are not enjoyable. The goal is to live a trouble-free, enjoyable life. It is, of course, important to accomplish their real goal. Many consider to be necessary to suffer. Unfortunately, there is no easy way end all these troubles because of this selfish goal. Please try to understand what we talk about. There's little inner meaning we should try to understand. This attitude needs to allow us to think differently. People are busy with their family life. We are so busy, and this behavior does not allow us to look at the life in an intelligent way. As a result, we continue to suffer in the samsara. At the time of the Buddha, a wealthy man was born after his death as an ugly beggar, person. One day, it so happened that he entered a house where he had dwelt in his previous life. In his previous life. But the owner of that house violently grabbed. He was frightened because somebody jumped into an ugly person, like an not looked really a human being, different look, ugly look. Late night, jumped into the house. The owner of that house violently grabbed him and threw him out of the house. We do the same thing if it happened, don't you? The Buddha, who was passing that way, noticed him and told that the person that you have just thrown out of your house was none other than your dead father. He was shocked. The Buddha said it was his father, the previous father. This was because people were very occupied in nourishing their greed and passion for lustful things. We are human, and for this reason, many forget to have a meal in time, have a glass of water in time, postpone taking even a shower. Right? And the like. Taking a shower and the like. Some forget their duties, responsibilities, obligations, etc. And slowly develop greed. Because of greed, they forget their responsibilities, duties, and obligations, etc. Because very much taken by the greed. At the end of life, begins to worry about their past and try to bury past, but cannot do it. It is too much to get rid of during our whole lives. We collected greed and prolong our samsara. We do need to shorten our number of rebirths. For that, we need to get more and more involved in good. Worry about yourself and do your best to shorten the number of rebirths that we are going to have. But unfortunately, we are preoccupied with our family life, our responsibilities towards our children, responsibilities towards our families, and thereby we get lost. And we have no idea about what our mission is going to be, where we are involved, what we are doing. Our life is far away from the reality. Why? Because putta matte dhanam matte iti balo vihanyati. Attahi attano natti kuto putta kuto dhanam. I have children. Iti balo vihanyati. Iti balo vihanyati. The uninformed person fatigues himself. They cannot even call themselves their own. How can there be Buddha's children? How come there be wealth? It's an illusion. Therefore, it is important to understand, who am I? Who are the children? What is the wealth? Why I get lost in these things? The reality is there is nothing to get involved. There is nothing to get involved in the real life. We are sooner or later going to leave this world. At that moment, if we reflect, the children, Putta or children, the wealth that we have accumulated will not come to help you. Even if you think of them, it will be detrimental to your future rebirth. So then, why we worry about this? Putta matti dhanam matti, I have children, I have wealth. And fatigue yourself. Try to understand the real meaning of the life and try to find what the mission of our life should be. This is the message of the Buddha from this verse number 62 of the Dhammapada on the chapter 5. May you all be well and happy.
The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. Conquer all delusion, greed and hate. Let's walk in the master steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. We all to one day will be awake. Let's walk in the master steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. Conquer all delusion, greed and hate. Let's walk in the master steps with faith. The Dhamma is your teacher, he said. We all to one day will be awake.
That is all for today. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact us at info@buddhadharmatv.com. We work hard to share the noble, peaceful, and sublime teachings of the Buddha with you, helping you pursue the spiritual path under his wisdom. Please encourage and support those interested in the rational and enlightened teachings of the Buddha. Thank you for watching. We believe our programs on the Buddha Dhamma TV will inspire peace lovers around the world. Good night. Namo Buddhaya.